Welcome everyone. So today we are going to discuss about exempt income and personal allowance. So let's start this session. So firstly, if we talk about exempt income, what do you mean by exempt income? So exempt income refers to income that is not subject to income tax under tax laws. Okay, so it does not falls within the scope of the taxable income, right? You do not incur tax liability on this types of income. Okay, so it is excluded from taxable income and does not contribute to the tax liability of taxpayer. So if we see certain examples of exempt income, we have firstly income from letting a room in own home up to a certain level, uh, which is covered ahead. Again, certain investment income and certain employment income and benefits are covered ahead. Next is interest on tax repayments made to individuals. Okay, so if I give you an example, Ravi overpaid the tax. Okay, Ravi overpaid the tax. So HMRC, what HMRC did is refunded the excess tax paid by him along with interest. Okay, so HMRC will be paying interest on that excess amount of tax that has been paid by Ravi. Okay, then that interest income, the part of that interest income would be exempt. Okay, so out of the total refund, whatever the interest part is, would be exempt income. Okay, next is betting and gaming winnings. So let's say Kamal won 50,000 pounds from lottery ticket. Hooray! Wow. So he does not have to pay any tax on this income. This is totally exempt. Okay, this is totally exempt. So Kamal can have some beer. Okay, Kamal can have some party and have some beer. He can enjoy. He does not need to pay any tax on it. Okay, so these three things would be covered ahead in detail. As of now, we have saw what interest on tax repayment is and what betting and gaming winnings are. Okay, next is we are going to discuss about personal allowance. So firstly, let us understand what is personal allowance. So personal allowance is the amount that the government considers is the minimum you should be having to cover your basic needs. Okay, to cover your basic needs. So what is that amount they have decided? So it is 12,570 pound. And what does it say? Okay, so till 12,570 pound, you do not need to pay any tax. So if your total taxable income is below 12,570 pound, you not need to pay any tax on it. This is your personal allowance. Okay, and it is available for every tax year. It refreshes every tax year. So let's say your income is 30,000 pound, then 12,570 is something that HMRC says that you do not need to pay tax on it. Above that, you would be paying tax. Okay, so personal allowance for 24-25 was 12,570 pound. It may change if you are seeing this video in some future point of time, but as of now, it is 12,570. Okay, let's discuss about beneficial order for allowance. What is the beneficial order for allowance? So as I said in previous video, you need to firstly go to non-savings income, then savings income, and then dividend income. Okay, it is not vice versa, or it is not in the order that you need. You firstly go to non-savings, then savings, then dividend. Okay, why non-savings? Why it is beneficial? Because non-savings has not got any tax-free band, right? It does not have any nil rate band or starting rate band available. So it would be beneficial to start with non-savings income, then savings income. Why do we go to savings income? Because savings income starting rate band and nil rate band is available to you, right? You can apply that. Then you have dividend income, nil rate band, right? And again, the tax rate are also lower if you compare dividend income with savings and non-savings income. Okay. Yeah. Let's see a full-fledged question where we are going to apply personal allowance. Okay. So for this example, what we have is non-savings income of £15,000, savings income of £25,000, and dividend income of £20,000. So firstly, let us apply this in our format. So here is our format. So the total net income was £60,000. Then we got personal allowance of £12,570 against non-savings income. See, the total non-savings income here is £15,000. So you reduce the £12,570 from that. So for the non-savings income, you get taxable income of £2,430. Again, the same question as we asked in previous video. Do we have starting rate band that applies? Yes, we do have. Why? Because non-savings income does not exceed £5,000, right? But does it consume the band? Yeah, it consumes the band. Okay. So out of £5,000, how much is left as a starting rate band? That would be taxed at 0% for savings income. What is it? So 2430 has been consumed by non-savings. So whatever is left is 5,000 less £2430. Correct? Okay. Tax would be applied. Tax would be applied normally. So here, if we see we have total income of £47,430, so we would fall into higher rate band. Okay, we would fall into higher rate band. Before that, we need to pay tax on basic rate band firstly till £37,700, and over and above that, we would be having higher rate band at 40%. So firstly, we applied this basic rate band to non-savings income. Okay, so we start with non-savings income. Then what we will do? Let us get that. Okay. Then we have savings income starting rate band of what amount? So here I have left in the right. You can see I have mentioned the amount, the total basic rate band available to us. So it is £37,700. So out of which 2430 is consumed by non-savings income as we discussed in previous video. Then what is left is 5,000 less £2430. £2430, right? So £2570 would be totally removed. Okay, £2430 would be totally removed. Okay, because we have already calculated tax on it. Then we move on to savings income nil rate band, and it is £2570. Correct? So for that £2570, you need to pay no tax. You do not have any tax liability. Then we do have £500 of savings income nil rate band. If I show you here, we discussed yesterday. We are in higher rate band currently. So we have £500 of savings income nil rate band. So again, 500 would be at nil rate band. So if we see how much is left after this, out of 37,700, out of the basic rate that we have, how much is left out of it? It is 32,200 pounds. Okay, 32,200 pounds is left. Now let's move to the calculation normally. Okay, now 25,000 out of 25,000, what has been done is 2570 is done and 500 is done. So what is left would be charged at 20%, right? What was the amount? 25,000 less 2570 pound, which is starting rate band, less 500 pound of new rate band. So you get 21,930 pound. 21,930 pound. So you apply 20% tax. So here your basic rate is still available at 10,270 pound. Okay, 10,270. Again, you have dividend income nil rate band. Dividend income nil rate band available irrespective of what tax category you fall into. So dividend income nil rate band would be 500. Okay, so that would be 0 again. So if we get to know what is the final amount available under basic rate band to be taxed in dividend income. So in this dividend income, we have 9,770 £70 totally calculated at 8.75%, which is our basic rate band. Now our basic rate band has been extinguished. We do not have basic rate band available. Then we move to higher rate band. So 20,000 pound of dividend income, out of which 9,700 pound has already been charged. Okay, 9,700 and 9,770 pound has already been charged. So you get 4,307.5 pound. So if we want to calculate the total tax, if we want to calculate the total tax, we would get it 9179.5. Okay, 9179.5. Correct? Okay. Now let's move on to another thing, that is reduction in personal allowance. So in last video, we saw a person had an income of 1,60,000 pound, right? A person had income of 1,60,000 pound. So we do not deduct the personal allowance from it. What was the reason behind it? This was the reason behind it. This concept is the reason behind it. So personal allowance is reduced by £1 for every £2 that has been that the ANI exceed 1 lakh pound. So if your ANI exceed 1 lakh pound, so with every £2 increase, you would see your personal allowance reduced by £1. Okay, so HMRC says that you are already earning this much income. You are already earning this much income over and above 1 lakh pound. So I don't think so. You need personal allowance. You are capable of paying the tax. Okay, you are capable of paying the tax. Now, this is dependent on adjusted net income, not your taxable income. Okay, it is dependent on adjusted net income. Okay, so the net income here, as we saw here, this was the net income before any personal allowance. It is our net income. So net income less gross personal pension contribution. What is gross personal pension contribution? So when you contribute something to the pension, okay, so what happens is if you contribute 80 pound, 20 pound is your relief that you get. So what HMRC is saying, you deduct 100, not 80. 100 is the gross amount over which you would be deducting this from the net income. Similarly, for gross gift aid donation, so any donations you did, you would be getting that deduction on the gross amount, not the net amount. Okay. So let's see one example. Let's see one example. So if your net income is 50,000 pounds, so you are under 1 lakh pounds. So here you have the same PA, 12,570 pounds. Next is net income of 1,20,000 pounds. Here things would be changing. So when your net income is 1,20,000 pounds, 20,000 is higher. So 20,000 divided by 2, you can do it easily, which means 10,000 is the reduction in PA, which means you only get 2,570 as your new personal allowance. Next is net income of 1,25,140 pounds. Okay. So the reduction would be 12,570 pounds because the excess is 25,140. So whole of your personal allowance is being consumed here. So you do not have any PA. So you need to keep in mind, if your income exceeds 1,25,140 pounds, then you need to forget everything about personal allowance. You won't get any personal allowance. So if your net income is 1,50,000, again you need to forget personal allowance. You do not have any PA available. Now, interesting fact that we will see here is the marginal rate of tax. What is marginal rate of tax? So when there is some percentage of change in one variable, right, and we find out the change in the another variable. So let's say my net income, I was earning 1 lakh pound in the previous tax year, but now in the current tax year, I am earning 1,20,000 pound. Okay, although the taxable income has been increased by 20,000 pound, I will be losing. Just let me correct it. Okay, I would be losing personal allowance because, as we see here in the calculation, 1,20,000, there is an 20,000 excess over and above 1 lakh pound. So I would be getting lower personal allowance, which is 10,000 is reduced, right? So whatever is left is 2,570 pound, okay, which would be available as your personal allowance. So now just with the increase of £10,000, what is the effect to us? So, firstly, this £10,000 personal allowance is lost, which means 40 percentage 40 percentage would be payable on this amount. 40 percentage would be payable on this amount, correct? Because you do not have personal allowance. Next is when your income exceeds, your income has been actually increased by £20,000. So actual tax is £20,000 into 40%. You are into higher rate band already. Okay. So you pay 40 percentage on that amount. So firstly, you pay higher tax on higher income that you have earned. Then you have another disadvantage of personal allowance being lost, which is 10,000. 10,000 was the personal allowance that is lost. So you need to pay tax on this 40 percentage. So if you see the total tax which has been paid by you due to this increase in income is £12,000. It is 12,000. So the rate of tax is not 40 percentage, it is 60 percentage. Okay, so the marginal rate is 60 percentage, not 40 percentage. So with the increase in £20,000 of your income, your marginal, so over and above that, over and above the increase in income leads to a marginal rate of tax of you at 60 percentage, right? So 1 rupees I earn above 1 lakh pound, 1 rupees I earn above that, I would be paying 0.6 pound as a, okay. So if you see £12,000 divided by £20,000, it is 60 percentage of tax. Okay. So this was it for today's session. We will move on to further topics in following session. Okay. As of now, this was it. Thank you so much for joining in our session. Let me know if you have any queries in comment. Keep sharing, keep subscribing. Do like the video if you found it interactive and it helped you in some or any other way, uh, either in revision session, either as a revision session or actual lecture for you. It would be helpful for me to get motivated and make further videos. Okay. Yep. So thank you so much. Goodbye.